What is up today, y'all? I'm going to go over 3 Stoic philosophers that brought certain principles into fruition that are not only going to change how you view fitness, but how you can also change your life and how you view your life as well. This isn't necessarily a language for motivation, but rather for behavior correction. I'm also going to be breaking down a couple of ideas taken directly from Stoic texts that are meant to directly correlate with discipline and removes feelings completely. Epictetus explains why your feelings never get authority over action. Marcus Aurelius explains why duty matters more than comfort. And Seneca explains why repetition destroys resistance. What is absolutely great about all these rules is if you do not directly follow these in fitness, you will definitely not see maximum results. Let's go over Stoicism. Stoicism is just simply a system that allows you to determine what deserves your concern and what does not. Stoics believe that most people fail not because life is hard, but because their focus wasn't in the right things. Most people, they care about comfort, they care about ease, they care about how hard something is compared to whether it's necessary and needs to get done. In relation to fitness does not reward concern, it rewards execution. Every rep is a reward. You either act or you avoid. It's that simple. I like to say action cures hesitation. Now let's get into Epictetus. He is one of the philosophers I'm going to be talking about today. He was born as a slave and philosophy was one of his ways of living. Because of his upbringing, he is all about internalized control. In other words, what factors can you control about yourself, excluding those external factors those otherworldly external factors that can affect you. And one of his most important works is the Enchiridion, which is a handbook, or it was a manual, a day-to-day manual, not necessarily like a book you would read and admire once, but something you would use on a daily basis. And one of the main concepts that the Enchiridion presents is the dichotomy of control, which basically splits life into 2 different categories. It's quite simply the things that are up to you and the things that are not up to you. For example, he says some things that are up to you are your choices, your actions, and your judgments, whereas some things that are not up to you is your mood, your motivations, your comforts. An important thing to note too is that Stoics do not say that your emotions are fake, but rather that you just don't let your emotions govern you or decide what you need to do. Think about fitness. You don't control when you're sore, you don't control when you're happy, you don't control your mood when you go in for a workout. If you're the type of person where you only really go to the gym, you only really train, if you feel good, then this video is for you, because Stoicism teaches you exactly not to do that. You let discomfort have the authority in your life. You need to embrace that. Epictetus says, first say to yourself what you would do, then simply do what you have to do. You got to decide and then act. The biggest problem is a lot of people are just fighting their demons. It's not that they necessarily quit fitness. It's just that they delay it, they negotiate with it, they hesitate, they reschedule it until it disappears again. That's like the biggest problem for most people. Stoics also teach that there is a very fine line between impact and intention. You need to be impactful. Intention does not help. Either you work out and you don't. And what happens is when you develop a routine, when you stick to something, discipline removes debate, and you have no choice but to succeed. On to the next, we're going to go over to Marcus Aurelius. Some people pronounce it Marcus Aurelius, but he was a Roman emperor. And he wrote a book, Meditations. It was a private journal where he jotted down things to keep track of his own way of thinking. But his whole goal wasn't really to inspire an audience. His whole goal was to, at first, find out what keeps him functional. But in this journal, there was like a little bit of a dilemma because he repeatedly confronts his desire for comfort. And he argues with himself as he's lying in his bed. And he just has to remind himself that he was born to fulfill a function, not to seek ease. So he really goes over how to remove concern from comfort. And he really preaches how to have duty and obligation in your life. And a simple quote from Marcus is just simply, waste no time arguing about what a disciplined person should be one. In the gym, clearly that translates because you should not train when you're comfortable all the time, as you're not going to be. Most people aren't, As I said earlier, there's factors of emotions. But basically, he just says that you need to work because you have work to do, you have a duty to do, you have obligations. And one thing I've noticed, and I've done this a lot too in my life, is it's always a constant battle with my own rationalizations. Like I'm always trying to explain, come up with excuses, give myself reasons why something should be applicable or not, rather than just simply doing it. And it just leads to postponing. It just leads to me hesitating all the time. Stoics just simply preach that we need to remove this rationalization habit We just need to remove how we interpret things if we want to be at the absolute peak of our fitness and capabilities in general. We can go ahead and move on to Seneca, another philosopher that I wanted to cover, but he just basically goes over habit, repeated behaviors over time. And there's two works that Seneca did in Letters from a Stoic and On the Shortness of Life. And basically he explains that suffering does not come from effort, but rather comes from the anticipation instead. The buildup, the delay, the mental resistance. It teaches you basically that you need to stop caring about anticipation and you need to start caring heavily about repetition. Seneca says it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste most of it. So when it comes to fitness, missed sessions are just far worse than bad sessions. You're sitting there dwelling on, oh, was this a good workout? Or if I'm not gonna get the best workout in today, I might as well not work out. That's what's killing your gains. That's what's killing your fitness. That is what's harming you in the end. Letters from a Stoic is just simply a series of 124 letters that Seneca wrote about Stoic philosophy. Some core principles from Seneca also include control and focus. Again, focusing on what you can control internally versus externally. He also goes into how important time management is, using your time management skills to maximize your lifestyle as best as possible. He goes over adversity as training. In other words, hardship isn't a curse. You should actually see it as a blessing, develop virtues of courage and resilience. He preaches how you should prepare for bad times during good times, so that way you can handle those bad times calmly and smoothly. He really goes into wasted time. And this is one thing that a lot of Stoics preach as well. People waste too much time on just being greedy, empty ambitions, keeping their schedule busy but not fulfilling, not being productive. These are things that Stoics tell you not to do. Seneca really goes into your mastery of your mind as well as your time. Those are two very important things, your virtue and your time. At some point, you have to stop pretending that you're confused. You're not stuck because you don't understand, you're stuck because you keep delaying. Stoicism calls that misplaced concern, and fitness outright calls it failure. The main rule you need to follow to change your life is that you need to act first and deal with your emotions later. Epictetus says, how long are you going to wait until you demand the best for yourself? If you're done waiting and you want to change your life for the better, hit that subscribe. Peace, y'all.